where my money goes. You know, as an American, paying your taxes, where does the money go?
And this is my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, the military-industrial complex has gotten out of control in the United States.
Yeah.
Canada, not so much. You know, we take that money and we put it into universal health care.
Yeah.
You know, we could put more into health care, housing of homeless people. We could put it into education, so people have jobs that pay good enough for them to have hope for the future. But in the United States, your infrastructure sucks. I've been down to the States. I spent a lot of time. I used to live in Arizona.
It needs help. Yeah.
And nothing's changed since the 70s.
We were talking today about the people's jobs that are tied to the military-industrial complex.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people that their family's future depend on us dropping bombs on
basically
other countries. You know, like a lot of that does. And then I look at China, and China has a tax system just similar to any other country. People pay into it, and the money goes. And what does it do? For the most part, it's building huge infrastructure projects, high-speed rail
to bridges,
building buildings and funding
airports and
projects.
highways.
Huge sorts of projects.
Exactly.
That's
why 800 million people got pulled out of poverty in the last 20 years, because that's their mandate. The mandate of the Americans is to police the world. But you've got to go back further, because as an American, you'll understand this. You have to blame somebody. So if it wasn't for the Japanese at Pearl Harbor, America wouldn't have even been in the Second World War, and they would have been passive, just like Canadians. So it's the Japanese's fault.
Yeah, I mean,
no?
Yeah. I think America was sort of ready to involve itself in. It wouldn't have sat on the sidelines forever. Well, I was sort of trying to draw a similarity to the confidence that people have in their governments. The confidence that people have, and the patriotism. Like, you see a lot of anger in America. There's a lot of everybody's talking about how one side's a piece of shit, the other side's a piece of shit. One guy's horrible, another guy's horrible, but the proof is sort of in the pudding, right? Because we're funding all of these crazy projects. We go around, we see tent cities, whereas in China they're going around, they're seeing a new high-rise or a new city sprouting up.
A high-speed train going by at 300 miles an hour.
They're taking their kids to a school that's like 10 times better than the one they went to.
Well, that's just it. And more disposable income. People are driving cars rather than pedaling bikes.
Yeah.
Kids are going to university. Farm kids, they're not staying on the farm anymore.
Yeah.
They're going to university. Like Dr. Robert. Hi, Robert. He grew up in a really poor community. He said the only saving grace, the only hope he had as a child was a school. So they take their education very seriously, and now he's one of the top oncologists in Chongqing. So the idea that they fight from this to this, but the whole country does the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not just the people; it's the government. It's everybody in the country is moving in that positive direction together.
Yeah,
it's not one side against another. It's not whites against blacks. It's not Republicans against Democrats. It's
left
not
against right,
it's
or
not,
whatever.
Fossil fuel against green. It's not. There's
they're
all
sort
of
of
this.
united. Yeah.
Well, that's just it. They're moving in one direction, and
a lot of people say that that's such a big difference between China and America. But I see in America the left and the right are very similar with regards to who pays their salaries. The people that lobby on behalf of the corporations lobby to the right and the left.
Well, you don't think,
and they want similar results from both sides.
Well, that's just it. Like these big corporations, they're doing the same thing to the Republicans as the Democrats, because they don't know who's going to win, and they want to cover their ass any which way it goes.
Like we were talking, lobbyists would never allow the high-speed rail system in China to exist here, because there's no profitability in it. There's no profitability in the running of a rail of that size.
Not of that stature. But in China, you got 1.4 million people, or billion people. So you've got a lot of people. I've been on these trains, and a lot of them are you've got to wait for the next one because they're full.
Yeah.
But the Chinese government doesn't worry about if they're going to get their money back. It worries about how it's going to
impact society
and promote the economy of the country in the future.
Yeah.
So they're putting money into infrastructure now to make a better tomorrow for the people and the economy of the country, because they know that country is going to grow and grow and grow, because it's still a developing country.
Yeah.
So 10 years from now, if we don't go back to China for 10 years, we go back there, we will not recognize it. It's one of